Our nation is led by, unfortunately, not the best of us, because the men who are willing to do what needs to be done often don't come home. And so that leaves the people, typically the politicians we have, people like Joe Biden, are not the people that we want to be leading us. So it's also sad to me. I am envious of the caliber of man from back then that we lack today.
You're going to give me a soapbox, but we have a massive testosterone issue in this country. And I don't say that sarcastically or belittling it just to be funny. Like, we really do. I think it's like the average, 30-year-old has the equivalent of a 60 or 70-year-old male of like 40 years ago. Like, we've dropped over 50% in the last 50 years. That's absolutely insane.
Do you remember the Try Guys BuzzFeed scandal? Testosterone gate. It's these 4 guys who were making a video for BuzzFeed, and they're like, we're going to get our testosterone levels checked. And they're like, what are they, like in their 20s? And the testosterone was that of 80-year-old men.
I believe it. I mean, you see that everywhere you go. They're wearing masks.
Well,
they put signs up letting you know.
They don't eat meat. They don't exercise. And it's not even about, I'm not talking about lifting, although you should.
It'd be nice.
I'm talking about these people don't even walk, right? So there's a really interesting a post that went viral where it was like, caloric intake has stayed the same, but weight has increased dramatically, obesity. What could this mean? And of course, the default response most people gave was like, they're putting poison in our food. It's making us fat. And I'm like, dude, it's the internet. When the internet came out, people stopped walking places. You used to have to walk out of your house, walk to the bus station, walk to your office, walk. Want to go to lunch? You got to walk. Now it's all order. Now it's all remote work.
There's a ton of kids in my neighborhood, and this is happening even with kids in my places. There's a ton of kids in my neighborhood. I never see these kids. They're never outside. When I first moved in, we have a neighborhood pool, and once I realized there was a lot of kids in the neighborhood, I was like, man, this thing's always going to be crowded. We go there on July the 4th, and there's no one there.
I can't believe you just said that. This is something my wife and I talk about every day because we're surrounded by neighbors, and they all have like 3 and 4 kids. And I'm just like, I see them maybe once or twice, maybe outside once a week. But throughout the day, at evening, when some of the kids are out, when our kids are definitely out, they're gone. And every day we're just like, where are all the kids that we see on occasion in cars driving by? And they're just like cooped up inside, I guess. And it's crazy to me. You got to get kids outside.
I agree. Wow. Got to catch some fireflies.
Jeez.
I think this was where Biden pooped himself was the 80-year anniversary of us storming the beaches of Normandy. And I think it's worth mentioning that our greatest generation is kind of coming to an end. And all the veterans from that war probably won't be with us in the next decade or so. And their legacy of the peace in Europe that we've been seeing might be coming to a close.
Right around the time that Joe Biden is setting Europe on fire.
It's just, I mean, Americans had to come save Europeans from a shit show that was World War II. And we've had a more or less peace last there for the last 80 years. And I think we're seeing that come to a crumble. And as we're seeing NATO kind of crumble and Russia become more bellicose in Eastern Europe. And I think the best way to honor our heroes that fought in Normandy would be trying to have and continue a lasting peace in Europe. And if it doesn't, then we're going to have to eventually go save them again otherwise. So
we're at the door. We're at the doorstep of full-scale Eastern European warfare.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting, too, because I think we're going to be getting into it soon, but we are escalating now with allowing Ukraine to strike inside Russia, bordering areas in Russia where they are staging to attack Ukraine with American weapons. That hasn't happened before with our weapons, so...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Biden gave the command to his vassal state to begin firing on Russia directly.
Which is very bizarre when you think about it. The fact that, we might as well loop them in as a territory like Puerto Rico or something at this point.
I think that the reverse is kind of bizarre. I think it's bizarre to kind of give them weapons and be like, no. As soon as the Russians go across, they'll come attack you. They'll launch from inside of Russia. But no. Once they cross this arbitrary line on a map, I know they just attacked you and will attack you soon. You can't attack them.
I don't think we should be giving them weapons.
Right.
To begin with, So,
we are at war with Russia. That's it. In any context, if Russia goes to war in Ukraine, for whatever reason Russia goes to war in Ukraine, and then we say to the Ukrainians, we will train you, arm you, provide the intelligence, sink, using, it is the stupidest thing in the world that there are people trying to claim that we loaded up a rocket onto a rocket launcher and then drove it to Ukraine got out and said, okay, can you press fire at that Russian guy right now? And the Ukrainian guy was like, beep. And then we didn't do anything, Russia. Don't look at us.